Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and very obviously, we are going back to Medicaid and, of course, provider services. But first, brief disclaimer. In regards to this particular Medicaid series, if you ever want to know where and who my sources are for these videos for this specific video series, if you go into the description box, you're going to see all the links for everything right there that we have covered all the way up to this point. So should you like to deep dive on the subject or simply like to get more details in regards to facts, you should certainly be able to do so. Political trigger warning. If you are super left, super right, or even if you're really anywhere in the middle at this point, I am not affiliated with any particular political party because none of them are actually, at least in my opinion, trying to do anything to help us very scared disabled folk at the moment. So, I'm probably going to say something that may offend you. If this is not something you can handle like an adult and automatically resort to grade school name calling, your comment will be removed. You will be blocked. If you come into my comment section to make a comment, throw something that looks like a fact. You need to know I am autistic. I will zoom in on that fact. And then I'm going to pull it up. And if it turns out that you are lying, or somebody else lied to you and you didn't fact check it, the comment will be removed and you will be blocked. This is your only warning. Alright? Also, just regular trigger warning, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. I do use profanity, and when we cover topics, like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, for example, we cover some pretty dark subjects. So if you got a child that is 16 and younger that watches this channel, parental supervision is very much advised, alright? Okay. So what we're doing, I just want to give you kind of a bird's eye view in regards to provider services. Again, we already went over ARC, their different services, and how Medicaid funds that. Now we're going to be taking a look at one of the other major service providers, mainly because I'm also familiar with and have worked with them in the past. It's called Easterseals. This particular part of Easterseals is based out of the Midwest. So, we're going to be taking a look into their different programs and services that they provide. Then you and I are going to search Google together to see if we can find how much those type of services would cost us out of pocket. Because folks, I hate to say it, but with that big, ugly abomination of a bill, we kind of need to prepare ourselves, right? Because it's pretty much been made very clear to us that our current government does not care about disabled people or anybody who's trans, LGBTQ plus, or any of us who are actually different in any way. If you're female, if you're not male, white, and rich, they're coming after you. I'm sorry, but this is no longer hyperbole. This is not blowing things out of proportion. If you see the decisions that are being made and you think it's great, did you say you want to drag us all kicking and screaming back to the Middle Ages and be done with it? I say Middle and Dark Ages because even in the 1950s, if you were to tell those guys, we're not going to give proper mental health medication to these mentally ill folks, at all. We're just going to stick them on farms. They're going to consider that maybe it is you that could possibly need that medication. Just saying. But anyways, we're going to start with Easterseals Midwest community education. It says, we are committed to educating our community about disabilities. Our staff members educate first responders, law enforcement officers, school officials, businesses, corporations, and community members to raise awareness about disabilities and help people understand how to create a more inclusive community. That was actually a thing I have done in the past as well. In particular, I did two different workshops. And mine dealt very specifically. I was kind of known as the autism guru of this particular area and pretty much still am. Send help. How do I find myself in these situations? I just kind of fall into them randomly, and by the time it's all over with, I'm just coming back as though from whiplash. But anyways, I did train the Cox and Mercy, specifically their ER staff, to deal with a person who's autistic and agitated in a way to help them de escalate the situation before harm is caused to anybody in the facility. I also did a similar one where I helped train the Missouri State Troopers under similar how to deal with that without escalating the situation. But anyways, let me go ahead and continue here. A lot of agencies do it. Easterseals put a particular focus on it though. And there's a lot of cooperation with the providers out here too. Community education covers. Okay, partnering with community businesses to provide job sites for individuals with disabilities looking to gain real world job experience and training. Community group presentations during meetings, group clubs, in order to help more people understand and identify behaviors associated with autism and other disabilities. First responder and public safety official training to familiarize first responders with how people with disabilities may act when encountered. This training helps responders understand how to better communicate and interact with people with disabilities. So you got to think Medicaid funding is not just centered on us. It also provides funding for public education in regards to people with disabilities and how to interact with them, specifically public servants like this. Let me go ahead and continue here. Professional training for teachers, therapists, administrators, pediatricians, and more to help people understand how to create a more inclusive community and better support people with disabilities. All right, we're going to go to community living real quick. You see, they kind of give it the quick view. We are committed to help people with disabilities build skills to live as independently as possible in a hometown of their own. We offer everything from just a few hours of support a month to 24/7 care. Our team works with each family to determine the best options for services, whether that means working in the family home or helping an individual establish their own home. Like the programs we have already discussed, where the providers work very close in hand with Section 8, for example. We've gone over that in the Section 8 series. Community living services may be lifelong and include various skill building opportunities in areas such as safety, personal budgeting, housekeeping, personal care, and nutrition. Small staff to program participant ratios are important to us and tend to be 1:1 to 1:3. All right, Self Determination in Action Project. God, that's been around for a good long minute. I remember helping to launch that. This project was designed to empower people with disabilities to become advocates for themselves and others. Courses include My Life, My Rights. This introductory course explores what it means to have freedom of choice and empowerment. It is designed to increase self awareness and promote self determination by covering topics like rights and responsibilities, circles of support, healthy living practices, safety and security, social living and spirituality, and advocacy and engagement. Self-determination leadership. The six-module course takes an in-depth look at how self-determination and advocacy empowered the disability rights movement. Topics include the history of the movement, communication and problem-solving skills, rules, rights, and responsibilities, self-advocacy and self-determination, becoming a part of the self-advocacy group, and becoming a good leader. I actually went to one of those courses. The state inspired me. Actually paid for me to go to become a not just to become a better advocate, but to bring some ideas home on how to revamp a few things here in our particular city. The course that was being conducted at the time was being done. Oh, no, yeah, that was Jefferson City. It was Jefferson City. All right, let me go ahead and read this last one here. How to become an effective committee board member. This course empowers self-advocates to use their newfound skills to become involved in their community and make change. So, joining groups like People First, for example, or maybe you get involved with ASAN. There's some other groups out there as well. The ARC has their own group, and you can join them. They actually even take vans to go up to Jefferson City uh, several times throughout the year. And I know that Judavine does the same because that's how I got dragged into all this. When I mean I fell, I fell. It got suggested for me to go with Judavine to this big meeting in Jefferson City. I talked to my congressman, and the next thing you know, I'm getting dragged by the arms by a whole bunch of moms. By the time we left, I'm pretty sure I at least saw at least one out of every two senators and congressmen that were in Jefferson City at the time. But yeah, you get my point. Sorry, I took you all into left field. So, now, before we close out, I wanted to do that digging with you along here with me because I don't have an edit button. So let's ask the immortal question. Interesting. So those are more residential care homes. That's not what I'm looking for. Would it cost out of pocket? Look with me, folks. We'll find it, I think. All right, we're going to have to give it a little bit more information. In Missouri. Okay. All right, you guys ready? This for out-of-pocket costs. So, say you don't have like work insurance, or say that you are not on Medicaid. And I'll be honest, most workers' insurance are not going to be covering all that. They cover borough, like what I get, for example. But yeah, we'll see. Let me just give you a breakdown here. Okay. Home and community-based services for advanced personal care costs around about $8.17 per, not an hour. Not an hour, folks. 15 minutes. $8.14 every 15 minutes. Now, I can't math, so we're going to have AI do math for me. Okay. So, determine how many. Okay, so folks, what we're looking at as a cost, hourly wage, $32.60 an hour. An hour. Now, we're going to take a look at a few other things real quick. So let me go back to the other page for you, and we're going to link this all in the description box for you as well. That's advanced personal care. So we're not talking about the lighter type of care there. You're talking about someone who may need that personal care 24/7. And if you can see, basic personal care runs about around the same. So we're just going to pull that up real quick for a single day. Okay, so what was that? 3260, right? We'll do be nice, and we'll do just within the regular work period of 8 hours. So we're doing 3260. And let's say, granted, their shifts are longer, but just for the sake of argument, we're going to say about 8 hours. So that's $260.80 for a single day. It's just a day. All right. Now we are going to times that by, we got about, what, 7 hours in a week? That would be for a single week, $1,825.60 for a week. We are going to times that by 4 for a month. Per month, per month, just for this, $7,302.40. But what's that online? But wait, there's more. So what is that going to look like yearly cost-wise out of pocket? Yearly cost is $87,628.80. To give you a comparison, I am sitting about by myself. By the way, this is why I have roommates. I make about around 34 to 35,000 a year. Okay? A year. There is no way on planet Earth I would be able to pay for that service out of pocket should I ever need it. And I'm a working woman. Even when I'm not working, I'm working. I can't help myself. Okay? That's just